Welcome to Rainbow Dust and Brain Farts, the Neurodivergent Diaries. We're Gareth and Mark.
We talk about the messy stuff, the funny stuff, and everything in between. No experts, no fixing, no pretending we've got it all figured out.
Expect a wide variety of conversations, unexpected tangents, questionable life insights, and the occasional brain fart.
So if your brain is a little spicy too, you're in the right place. And let's see where today's brain fart takes us.
Rainbow dust and brain farts, the Neurodivergent Diaries.
Is it recording?
Yeah.
I've got something stuck in my throat.
Lucky.
Hey, and welcome to episode 2 of Rainbow Dust and Brain Farts, the podcast for people whose brains don't colour in the lines. How are you, Mark?
I'm okay.
We want to make it appear like there's been a week between recording videos, but it's actually been about half an hour. So,
Oh, let's not overthink it. That's what we.
So what we want to talk about today is quite a big topic. Is thoughts.
Yes.
So before we start, as always, we're going to put on the rainbow clock, put on our timer.
I totally forgot that existed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Thoughts.
Thoughts.
What do you think about thoughts, Mark?
What do I think about thoughts? I think that I think a lot, and that it's sometimes the tendency is to think that all thoughts are useful and that all thoughts should be actioned. And I think a lot of thoughts are actually quite problematic, especially if it comes under the realm of overthinking.
But what is overthinking to you?
Where there's so many thoughts that are maybe
We're probably going to say think and thought about 3,000 times.
if you wanted something to do,
count how many times we say thought and think.
put it in the comments. I want to know how many times. So I'm going to have to say thoughts again. I have contradictory thoughts, and I think that's where it ends up being where I would use the term overthinking, because it can sometimes be a barrier to action, particularly when it comes to wanting to share something maybe valuable, or even when it comes to all this kind of process, all this kind of way, even coming to sort of deciding what we're going to talk about or whatever, or we could maybe do this, we could maybe do that. All of those things are possible. It's how to sort of sift through. For me, is how to sift.
Who else would it be for?
to sift through. And
so when you have a thought, how does it happen? What is your thought process? I know how it happens for me.
It's dialogue. I've always got someone talking. Something that I've noticed or been looking at in therapy is that sometimes it's not always the same style of voice, if that makes sense. I did some work in therapy about when I was being very critical, and I would do it almost in my mother's tone, which I found interesting. I've not really noticed that until we looked at it. I mean, I realised that And then that started a whole piece of work about why that was. So that but it helped me to be able to sort of not talk with that dialogue, but in a way to recognise that there's different parts of yourself that that seem to be in the driving seat of the narrative that's going on in my head. So it's like I've heard people talk about like sort of naming that or recognising that sometimes it can be quite, oh, why is this happening to me? Like I have that with with problems with my sleep, or if I'm ill. Oh, it's not fair, and I feel like that's very sort of like some little Mark is the and it's a different tone to one that I'm trying to nurture. I'm trying to nurture that kind. It's okay. It's all right.
I had a similar conversation with my therapist this week when we were talking about like thoughts and anxiety. Right. So like, when you struggle with anxiety, there is a lot of internal dialogue. Yeah. There is a lot of conversations going on at the same time. And he was talking about how all these kind of like conversations get interwoven. They may not necessarily be related, but then when something happens, we connect dots that aren't meant to be connected. So these trains of thought, they like all cross over with each other and they all become jumbled. And then I have this thought about something. So I'll give you like something that I struggle with. One of the things that I struggle with, and I know where it comes from, is if I don't do things a certain way, then something bad is going to go wrong.
Right. Okay.
So we were talking about it the other day. So he was saying to me, well, okay, you have this thought that if you don't do things a certain way, then something bad is gonna go. Something bad is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then you're outside, and you have this thought constantly at the back of your head, and then you stand on dog shit, and then you connect the dots.
Yeah.
So it's like stepping on dog shit, and the thought that you have got nothing to do with each other. But because you have all these thoughts going on all the time, you make this random connection.
Yeah.
So, he was helping me to kind of like look at it and say, okay, well, what's my string of thought? And what other thought string is it getting tangled up with? So an exercise that he's given me to do, which has been quite interesting, is to kind of like write down all of these predominant thoughts that contribute to the anxiety and see where maybe they've crossed lines, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how would you do that? Would you process that through journaling, or would you process
through journaling? Like I think sometimes that when it comes to the stuff that goes on in our head, one of the greatest ways that we can learn is in hindsight, if that makes sense. So when something happens that triggers a certain thing, then I can work backwards and say, okay, well, what contributed to that? Is it because of that? Is it because of that? And a lot of times, it is kind of like through journaling, because the way that I like to look at it, and this is like a metaphor that really helps me, is that I have thoughts, right? And I can't control the thoughts, but I can control how I engage with them.
Yes.
So it's like what you were saying, like whose voice is it? How are they talking to me? So the way that I look at it is like the thoughts in my head are like kids in a playground. If you've ever walked past a playground that's full of kids, it's noisy.
Yeah.
There's kids running all over and blah, 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 blah. And then you stop outside the playground and one of the kids comes up and wants to show you something.
Yeah.
Right? But then as soon as all the other kids see you taking notice of that kid, they all come running and screaming and shouting. Rah, 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 rah.
Right.
That's what happens in our head. When we start engaging with one thought, that little kid sees it's being paid attention to, or the other kids want to pay attention to it. But then if I say to all the kids, okay, wait a minute, let me look at your thing one at a time.
Yeah, that's what you would do in that circumstance.
Then the kid will show me his thing, and then, you know, it'll move on. And then the next child will show me a thing, and then the kids see that they're being noticed, and they're not so noisy anymore. They wait their turn.
That's so interesting, because like that is one of the things that I struggle to manage is the priority. It's just like, so examples of where I would use the term overthinking is where is just like that. So I'll be like, well, why are you focusing on doing content creation, or why are you focusing on something new in the show when you should be focusing on stopping smoking this week, or you know that's more important than that. But then it's just like, but if you're gonna, but you've lost quite a bit of weight recently, and then you're worried about putting it back on. That then comes up, just like what you said. But they all then go, well, I'm important as well.
They're all important.
They're all important.
And then when we make one more important than the other, the kid shouts louder. It's like, well, I'm important too.
Yeah.
So the thing for me it is, and that's what my kind of like therapist helped me to kind of like look at, is like just pay attention to them one at a time. If the other ones want to show you something, it's like, okay, I'll look at yours too. It's just as important. But my overthinking comes in when I put more pressure and more priority or whatever it is on a certain thought.
I am not really thought. Are you taking that list down?
We're 40 McThortisons today.
40 McThortisons. Yeah, unfortunately, then because we've just had that laugh. So, brain fat.
Paying attention to your thoughts.
Yeah, paying attention. Yeah, I not really thought of it that way before. About like I sometimes struggle with the connection between thoughts and emotions. Not that I wanted to move into a different topic, but because thoughts quite often lead to emotions, I can sometimes muddle up the association with them, which is a lot of the time. My thought is, I feel this. In fact, separating that head from the emotion, that's something that I at times get muddled up with.
You see, the thing with thoughts as well, this is my understanding of it. The thing with thoughts is that you cannot see them, right? They're not real.
Yeah.
But they affect the body the same way that real words affect us. So I can have a thought and it'll create a sensation in my body.
Right.
So, you know, I will have a critical thought of my dad shouting at me.
Right.
And it makes me feel the sensation in my body as it did when I was a kid and my dad was being an asshole.
Right.
And then because my body feels a certain way, or because my body has a certain sensation, I label it.
And then that thought becomes
a feeling.
And also then that thought
Yep.
becomes more important.
Yep.
When actually you didn't ask for that thought to come forward in the first place. No. So what are you then saying that you, when something comes forward like that with an emotion attached, and therefore it sort of ramps itself up, when that might be not what you're doing today, or it might not be what you...
That's for me, that's where the overthinking comes in. Yeah. Because then I'm thinking to try and reduce that emotion.
Right.
So I have this thought, and then I engage in it, and it makes me feel a certain way, and then I'm like, no, I don't want to feel that way. No, I don't want to feel that way, and then it makes it more and more and more and more and more, and it just kind of like blows up. And then I overthink that, and then I overthink that, and then I connect things that are not meant to be connected. Whereas, like, okay, if a thought comes up, I'm fucking mine. What the fuck do you want? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
I can't remember her name. I learned this technique years ago, and I'll have to look for the female's name. But she says, like, if your thoughts come up and they're consistent and you're not happy with them, all you need to say is, okay, if you say so.
Oh, I've heard
I
that.
can't remember what her name is.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, if you say so. And it's the same, like if you're arguing with someone, you know, like we can't like have a debate and it goes back and forward and someone's trying to get their point across. And it's like, no, you, but no, you, but no, you. If you stop and say, okay, if you say so, the other person almost goes like, they're agreeing with me now. What am I going to do? You know, so if I'm having a thought, like, yeah, this can be like a bit of a heavy topic. Like part of my condition that I live with is sometimes that there is a lot of suicidal ideation, right? There is stuff that goes on and on in my head that I cannot control. In the past, it used to get the better of me. And I did stupid things that I regret, but thankfully I'm still here. You know, now when these things happen that I don't have any control over, you know, if I get this thought in my head, this constant nagging, do it, you know, I'll say to it, well, if you're so fucking brave, why don't you do it?
That's really interesting.
You know, because if I do it, you're not going to be here anymore. And then it's almost like, oh, okay.
Do you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of, I think I mentioned this to you before. I hope this doesn't seem like a tangent because it doesn't feel like it is in the moment.
There's no such thing as a tangent on Rainbow Death and Brain Farts.
Exactly. That was in beat laugh. That song by the guy with the guitar with I'm sure I talked to you about it before, and his name has literally just dropped. I knew it at the start of that sentence. It's about like an argument with your psyche. He plays it in. I'm sure I shared it with you at some point. It's like he's got like a hospital gown on, and he plays his guitar. It's a back and forth.
Yeah. I can't remember it yet.
Oh God, what is his name? It's one of my favourite things. I love it so much because, it's so annoying.
But you see, like, no, this is the perfect thing. It's like you're trying to remember something.
Yeah.
And and then you like have these thoughts, and it's like, I can't remember it, and then we're engaging with it and all that sort of stuff. But like, okay,
just need to let it go.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you don't remember it right now.
No.
But what was the context of the story?
It's somebody sings with something from two different perspectives between like almost like an inner saboteur kind of thing. And one of the lines in the song which really resonates, which gets a lot of it, is like you got to kill you if you want. If you want to kill me. That's what made me think of it in that. When you said that, it reminded me of this really emotive song, and it's that kind of like there's a lot of messages in it, and it is that kind of going. I like. There's a few things that you said there that I find interesting, like the sort of, well, okay, if you say so, or because if you then proper engage with it, like, well, why did I think that?
Yeah.
As soon as you start to question it, well, I'm thinking of it, it's because of it. And it's those little tussles with yourself that just then it becomes all about the tussles,
Yeah.
and not about what you actually wanted to think about. So, so would you say that this is a practice skill then?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And
I think everybody has thoughts. We can't deny that. Some people, maybe because they don't have brain farts, as serious as other people's brain farts, it's not so difficult for them. You know what I mean? Sometimes people can have these kind of like negative thoughts and say, "Oh, come on, snap out of it."
yeah,
And it's able to stop the conversation in its tracks, and they move on. But I know that for me in the past, I had these thoughts that I could not control. So for me, I've had to learn to kind of like look at, okay, what are my thoughts and what are the voices of my condition? So as someone who lives with schizophrenia, I have auditory hallucinations. In the past, everything was mixed into one. So I would hear.
a nightmare.
It was fun.
But in so doing, it's probably giving you an extra insight into being able to set. It's
so now I know what's
segregation.
Yeah, I know what's my thoughts and what noises come from my condition. In the past, I used to engage with them, so there was just this, and it took a lot of therapy, and it's taken a lot of self work to be able to kind of like differentiate between the two.
Yeah.
But what I know is that, in the past, when I would say, this is what's going on in my head, and someone would say to me, oh, just snap out of it, and I couldn't, I would beat myself up. Because there is going to be some people out there that can't stop their thoughts.
Yeah.
That they've been having these thoughts and these thoughts about these thoughts and these conversations about these thoughts for so long, and they just want to talk about it, and they don't know how to stop it. And when someone says, oh, chin up, be positive, just ignore it, and they can't do it, do you know what they're going to do? They're going to shut the fuck up. And that's why we want to have these conversations. I want to be that person's thoughts, if that makes sense. I want to be your thoughts. And say, yeah, it's okay to have these thoughts. Let's unravel it.
Yeah, agreed. One of my, I've got two things that I feel I can contribute which have helped me with this area, and both of them are the externalizing process. I've got my little group that of well trusted friends where I can just throw all of this out there. Not dumping on people, but just going like, I just need to
talk at.
Yeah, I just need to get all this out. And quite often in the process of doing so, I see the answer myself, because I've then got it out of here where it's like, I've just gone and put it put it out there, and then I don't often need much of an input, because I can then see it myself. And the same with putting it on paper. Just being able to express and see it.
I do agree. I think a lot of times people need someone to talk at, not to talk to.
Yeah.
But then we, as humans, naturally want to fix everything. So when someone starts talking to us, we're not listening. We're thinking about how we're going to respond.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, and that's the same with writing. Like, the brain is such a fascinating thing, and it's so complex, but at the same time, it's really simple. So when I write, And a lot of times I say to people, well, why don't you journal? It's like, oh, I've tried that. It doesn't work. You know, it's like, well, it does.
Yeah,
it's like the kids waiting. But when you first start, it's overwhelming. But when you take a pen to paper, you know, I have to have the thought. And in order to have that thought, I need to create a picture so that I can translate it. And then I can then get the pen and I can then write in paper. And then what my brain does, it goes, oh, it's out. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so writing and journaling makes those thoughts tangible.
Just to interject on that, you've just touched on it there, but I want to just hop back to it a little bit. When it was said earlier in the conversation about like, how do you think? You just referred to thinking in pictures.
Yeah.
Is that, not to delve too much, but is that most of the time, all of the time, is there a lot of dialogue? I'm just interested.
See, like the
thought process.
My experience is that the only way that my brain can talk to me is through a picture.
That guy's called Ren.
Ren?
Yeah.
The artist.
Yeah, the artist is called Ren. The video is called Hi Ren. It's fascinating. Sorry. The little man just ran up through. He's like, it's Ren!
Yeah, but then you see, like the little man ran up and showed you a picture of Ren, and then you translated it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that translation happens so quickly that we don't realize we've seen the image.
Right.
So our thoughts come to us in pictures.
Yeah.
And then we translate it
into dialogue. Does that always happen, do you think? Or is it what happens with you?
I think, I know that it's what happens to me.
Yeah.
But I think it's what happens to most people.
That's interesting. Let us know in the comments. First time I'm going to say. Let us know in the comments, because I really don't know about that, because I would say that I think almost always in dialogue, but then maybe not.
But then where does the dialogue come from? Something happens either inside or outside of you that makes you start having that conversation.
Yeah, it is something. Because the whole time we're talking, it wasn't that I wasn't listening, I promise. But there was like what I would describe as a tab open.
Yeah.
And the more I got relaxed about, it's okay, you're probably not going to remember the name of that artist or that song or anything like that. It was relevant to what you were talking about. But there was a couple of tabs open. There was the one going like, well, you must not know what it is. And I decided to, as I was engaging more with what we were talking about, it was getting quieter and quieter and quieter. But then the video, I kept on getting snapshots of the video so I could see what it looked like and stuff like that. That kept on happening. And then, yeah, somewhere within that, I got a little thing of what it was called, Ren. That was like looking at thoughts in real time. How interesting. I never really thought about the picture element. I don't know how important it is. I don't know.
No, but it's just.
But it's still interests
it's
me.
just fascinating. I think that, you know, we can learn a lot about how we think from watching it.
Yeah.
So from sitting there, you know, and sitting there and saying, okay, well, how am I thinking this thought? What language am I using? What words am I engaging with? Where has this thought come from? You know, why am I having this thought? What the hell does this thought mean?
Do you think that that's what what meditation's supposed to be about? It's because I know that when I was engaging a lot with meditative practice, which does me a lot of good, which is why it's great that I've not been doing that. But there was a time where I was like, I got quite into it. And one of the things that I really benefited from was realising that it wasn't to be thoughtless. That was never going to happen.
You're never going to be thoughtless as far as I'm concerned. It can be quiet and the volume can be down.
Yeah. And it was like some of the sort of videos that I was following it, like in guided meditation, was to like watch thoughts almost like clouds just rolling by, and to stop like, oh, what does that mean, and why is that? And to just be is the biggest challenge I find with meditation because I always want to engage, but the practice is to put yourself into that almost like third person perspective in a way, just like what watching. Another analogy that was used on one of these recordings was about like sitting back and watching it on a cinema screen, just like watching it. A game that would be visual, wouldn't it? I don't know about you, but sometimes you have these experiences and you like engage with it, things and go like, that's really useful, and then it's something that you then adopt as part of your life for a few weeks or a few days, and then for whatever reasons, some habits come back or change, and you sort of like forget that. But it's almost like I'd learned that before about the thought process, and I've been sort of like quite aware of it, and then maybe I'd forgotten it again recently. That's really. Oh, I had so many more thoughts to talk about.
Well,
the cock has spoken.
What did you think of that?
And how many thoughts and thinking did we say? We really, if you've actually added all that up, then good for you. But that's episode 2.
That's episode 2, done and dusted.
I hope that you're enjoying watching this.
Yes.
And we will talk about something different next time. So from Mark
and Gareth,
from what we're called, rainbows and brain farts.
Rainbow dust and brain farts.
Is it a dust?
I'm gonna look at the rainbow dust and brain farts.
I knew that.
Thanks everybody, and see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
So, and then we do a pensive nod, like when they do at the end of the news. Mm-hmm. Yes. That was quite a good one.
Yeah, it was.
Rainbow dust and brain farts, the neurodivergent diaries.